So you can take a seat or lie down, closing the eyes, opening the palms, and just taking a few deep breaths. And then resting your awareness to the breath. And allowing whatever wants to flow. Especially at the level of our feeling, when we are taking a breath and when we are slowing down, things can start to move and come up and move through us. And we can allow calm to emerge as that's happening. We can start to recognize that where maybe before we were completely taken over by certain things or overwhelmed by certain things, that there is this calm that can open up around everything, even if we feel grief or even if we feel not well inside ourselves, or there's stuff going on in the physical body, or we don't know how to bring answers to external life and living things. So what for me always really helps is to go more inwards, to really almost feel like I'm going inside my very cells, and just to fully accept what is in my experience. Not to try and not be in it, or not to try and do things to move out of it. Like sometimes for me it almost feels painful when there's stuff that wants to flow and you're trying to move out of it. So when I profoundly just relax into the grief, or relax into not knowing where to move in certain areas of my life, or just relax into all of that, what starts to open up is a calm and a space. So just seeing if you can allow yourself to feel that calm and that space inside whatever. And it's almost like when we stop trying to do anything with our experience, we start to hear the stillness and feel the stillness. Because when you're busy trying to not be in a certain place inside yourself, you become a moving target. You become a moving target. So it's almost, you don't almost know anymore what is going on, because there are so many things and you're trying very hard to be in different things, and then it becomes very chaotic. But when you take a breath, and when you just get to this honest feeling of whatever there is in this moment, and sometimes that honest feeling is joy, right? That can be an honest feeling. Sometimes that honest feeling is love, but sometimes also that honest feeling can be grief or sadness, or maybe a disappointment, or an underlying feeling of dissatisfaction. Like if you're really honest with yourself, you're so often just unsatisfied, this frustrating, unsatisfied energy. So whatever that is, when we allow ourselves to fully zone in on it for a moment, it's almost like it shifts out of this moving target feeling. And then you can have a very clear pointer towards what is actually happening inside you. And in the acceptance of that, you start to open something up. You start to open up a calm. You start to open up an ability to listen to something more, something beyond. And I think that that is such a huge blessing. I think that when you can get to the point inside yourself where you no longer need to move out of things, find solutions for things, or try to make sure you're never going to be this version of a human being again in your experience ever and ever, and trying to figure out how you can do that, then this deeper feeling, this deeper awareness remains lost. So instead, let's today just really point to the core of the thing, of the feeling that we've been trying so hard not to be or not to feel. And just anchoring our awareness in that, and having that fully and completely being okay. And as this is fully and completely okay, we can start to notice that there is an energy, that there is a calm, that there is a movement. The movement of your essence or the stillness of your being. And we can start to listen to that and to commune with that. And I sometimes feel like when life is actually not bringing us what we would like, or when it's showing us that we just don't have control and we let go of it and we just finally allow ourselves to meet this quality inside us that we didn't like about ourselves. We start to from there sense through it into the beyond. And I feel that sometimes life going not in a way that you maybe would have thought it should go is a blessing in that way. It's very easy to get lost in the external when everything is clicking and going and vibing, and then before you know it, you're just this person in the world. And sometimes life brings us very deeply inside again by actually not allowing things externally to be as we would wish in the moment. And then we go in and then we just see what we meet there. And then we cultivate a sense of acceptance around it. And then we can start to feel the beyond again. So the beyond requires your attention. Your beyond requires a deeper listening for you to perceive it. Until you realize I'm always in the beyond is always with me, right? But still, every opportunity that life brings you where things maybe don't go your way is actually an opportunity to deepen your connection with the beyond. And I feel that this is where we can get to a place of life and living where it can be so beautiful to be you, where you don't get lost in what you don't have or what is not happening or the things you would get lost in. You actually go into that very deep core feeling of your humanity. And then you sense beyond that into the infinite. And by allowing it to be, you're starting to sense beyond it. So it's almost like your human experience, when you, let's say, if you would be wearing clothes, you would have to first be aware of what clothes you are wearing and how they work, right? Is it a sweater, a hoodie? Is it a vest? Is it pants? Is it a skirt? And then once you're aware, you can choose to slip out of them because you are actually not the clothes you wear. Same is with this. If you would constantly be trying to change, you don't even know what you're wearing anymore. But once you get very clear on what your human experience is in this moment, what you are feeling in this moment, and you don't try to do anything with that, just to become aware of it, it's almost like then you can choose to slip out of your clothes into the beyond. I don't know if I'm making sense today, but let's try it for a moment. So let's try to see that, okay, there's a feeling, maybe there are more feelings, just to point them. Point everything you can become aware of as you in this moment. Not to make it move, not to have an agenda, not to analyze it, not to get rid of it, but to have the full awareness of all that is your human now. Every thought, every feeling, every physical sensation, every emotion. And if it helps, you can lay it in front of you on a table. Or if it helps, you can see it as different parts that you are wearing. And then what if there could be this clear picture of you in your human experience and nothing has to be done with that? Because nothing does have to be done with that, okay? Emotions we can experience, thoughts we can let pass by, physicality is doing what it's doing. Instead of making it a moving target, which for me is what analyzing it is, or workshopping it is, or trying to get rid of it is, let's have it profoundly stationary in front of us. Or let's have it profoundly like pieces of clothing on us. And then when you start to see it very clearly, and when truly nothing about it has to be dealt with, and that's only something that you can decide between you and you, that every aspect of you is actually just something that can be there and nothing has to be dealt with, then you can start to step out of it. Then you can start to allow yourself to experience beyond it. And what starts to happen is that in slipping out of the clothes you're wearing, or in seeing everything on the table and then starting to experience yourself as the air that's around it or the space that's around it, what starts to happen is that everything on that table or everything that you were wearing starts to receive from this beyond. And you are actually this beautiful, soft, vibrant yet calm and spacious energy of the beyond. That's actually who and what you are. And the reason that I know that and that you get to know that is because once you let this energy of the beyond in, or this stillness or this potential, this space inside, on the table or inside the clothes that you have put on, it actually starts to dissolve everything on the table. So breathe and relax. And now starting to become aware that when I no longer need to do anything with my human experience, and when I profoundly and deeply sense into the beyond, I can start to feel that I am with some energy or some essence that is so beautiful. And I can allow that to flow into my costume, to flow into everything I put on that table, to flow into every aspect of what I thought I was. And now watch what happens. Watch how everything starts to melt, soften, shift, and dissolve. And it starts to melt, soften, shift, and dissolve, not because it was wrong or bad, but simply because energetically it cannot exist in this beyond, in this deeper nature. So when you start to know yourself as this deeper essence, when you no longer have to do something with your humanity other than to profoundly align with what it actually is in this moment, you can start to let that beyond move into it. And when this tender, loving, all-inclusive field touches the thought, touches the feeling, touches the energy, it starts to dissolve. And starting to notice that it's almost like there is an energy flowing in it or around it with no agenda. It's quietly and vibrantly just dancing around it. And it's so loving that everything yields to it. Everything just yields to it. This energy doesn't have an agenda to dissolve it, but its simple receptive nature melts everything. And so in every moment in life, we can get stuck in our individual level, and we can get stuck in all the things that we feel we don't have, that we feel are not fair, that we feel are related to our past, or that we think we should do something with at the level of our future. Or we can just see what's now. And we can just identify it precisely. and leave it be. And in identifying it precisely and leaving it be, either by seeing it as pieces of clothes or putting it on the table in front of you or in your own unique way, just to see it clearly. Having that be your only agenda, just to see it clearly. I wish to see myself clearly. Then all of a sudden we start to feel a transcendent energy. I like to refer to it as God, because for me, God is a word that is just beyond anything I ever thought would be possible. And this love and this energy and this essence, it's so overwhelming me when I let it in, that I yield to it. The illusion of myself yields to it. The illusion of myself melts inside it, merges with it, and it's like I'm home. I'm home, and this is where I want to be. And this is where I want to live. And this is where I want to source my reality from. This is what I wish to commit to God, to this loving essence, to this place and space in which I'm always enough. And then I start to realize that I have to push back on nothing. Push back energy inside me is not needed here. Because I don't need to protect my form in the eyes of this God and this essence. I don't have to push back at life. I don't have to push back at this energy that so loves me, that so receives me. And the only reason why we've kept on protecting and defending and pushing back at people is because we were not enough for them. And that's okay. We will never be enough for the people in our lives. I know that can be a sad truth to hear, but you won't be enough for the people in your lives. You can only ever be enough for human beings that know themselves as this enoughness, as this truth. So you can allow yourself to source your experience from this essence. And you can let that essence just flood inside of your human form. And completely and fully allow yourself to bathe in the enoughness of the truth of your being. And this is what you can source your experience from. And this is where nothing actually has to change about you, because nothing was missing or wrong inside of any of it. And all along, all this time that we've been walking around trying to be something for people in our lives that didn't love themselves, and this is pretty much every person to some degree, right? We could have put our awareness and our focus inwards on aligning with whatever is in our human experience now, simply because of the awareness, and then revealing it all to God. Revealing it all to this deeper essence, stepping out of it into this space and place of the divine, and letting it melt everything inside us. Just feeling every cell in your body melt. Your brain shift spacious. Your body turn warm. Whatever felt stuck starting to vibrate, to pulsate. And that is how much you are loved, and that is something that you can commit to knowing and feeling in every moment. And all the rest, really all the rest, does not hold in truth. This is why fear will never win from love, because it melts in the presence of it. It cannot stand. It cannot keep existing. It cannot. This is why every great Disney movie ends with love winning, because love melts. The illusion, the separation, the fear, it just does. Starting to feel this emanation ripple out of your form, into your room, into your neighborhood, into your city, village, country, continent, the world. Seeing yourself on the one hand on this earth, in the world, and then seeing this huge emanation that is enveloping this whole globe, and starting to recognize that your relationship with yourself, stepping out of this costume, out of what you thought you were, into this huge, large expression of you, is actually how we envelop this entire globe consciously in love, consciously in light, And also starting to see that there's no bypassing in any of this, that it's actually profoundly meeting your humanity and then profoundly dissolving whatever hard and harsh edges still reside within you. And this integrated way of being, that's the sweet spot. That's where we don't have to go from this spiritual presentation to all of a sudden this presentation that feels like it needs to be anti-spirituality. No, there's no for and there's no anti in this. There's just the melting of the matrix inside of the field of truth. And I think that that is something worth committing to. Yay. Taking a breath. And on the exhale, let's move down through the layers of the earth, spanning your continent, your country, city, village, street, neighborhood, your house, your room, your body, and letting all of that energy fall through your crown, through the midline, into the pelvis, from the pelvis into this earth. Recognizing that really there was never anything wrong with anything in your human experience, and that when you accurately align with it, you can choose to step out of it and let the infinite, divine essence flow inside of your whole form, and allowing everything in there to melt. Yay. You can open your eyes, keeping the gaze soft, and slowly bringing your awareness all the way back. Thank you.